Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, and it's Tuesday, December 22nd. Thanks for choosing to be here for your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. Now, I know I just said it was Tuesday, but I don't know about all of you, but for me, this is definitely that time in between the holidays when time really seems to be crawling. I know it's only Tuesday, but at the same time, it feels like we've already had 75 Tuesdays this week. But don't worry, we're going to get through this together. We've got your stories for you to get you updated on what's going on here in Northeast Ohio right now. Let's start with an update out of the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. Jury trials have now been suspended again indefinitely because of the large number of new COVID-19 cases. The judges voted today to extend that suspension beyond January 19th. Now, this suspension is the second suspension of jury trials in the Cuyahoga County Court of Common Pleas. This first happened back in March, just a few days after COVID-19 hit here in Ohio, when we first became aware of it hitting here in Ohio. That suspension lasted through September 22nd. They did restart jury trials, but not for very long because they voted to suspend them again on November 9th. Now, that suspension initially was only supposed to go through December 1st. Then it was extended again. Now it's been extended indefinitely, and the judges say that they will meet in early January to assess the situation based on the data related to where COVID-19 is in Ohio, in Cuyahoga County at that time. Bench trials are still taking place, and if you're not familiar, a bench trial is where the judge acts not only as the judge but also as the jury, and the judges are also asking that attorneys continue to work on their cases and see if there are any way to resolve cases outside of the courtroom for those cases that do require a jury trial. Of course, we'll keep you up to date on this as we learn more what's happening there. And with that, we'll go into today's COVID-19 numbers from the Ohio Department of Health. Both cases and reported deaths are up from yesterday, deaths significantly up from yesterday. The total number of cases that's being reported today are 7,678, and unfortunately 130 people have been reported to have lost their lives related to COVID-19, reported to the Ohio Department of Health within the last 24 hours. When we take a look at our positive rating, we have the latest data from Sunday, so again, there's a couple days delay in this data, but the daily positive rate on Sunday was 14%. So for all of the COVID tests being done, 14% of them were coming back positive. And the 7-day average as of Sunday was 13.8%. In the last 24 hours, we've seen 546 new hospitalizations. That brings the total number of people in the hospital being treated for COVID-19 right now to 4,828. That's up from yesterday. Also, the total number of people in the ICU being treated for COVID is up from yesterday. That number is now 1,160, and there have been 51 new ICU admissions for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. Now, something that we're paying very close attention to are the percentage of hospital beds that are open in the state of Ohio. Yesterday, that number was pretty high. That was at 31% of hospital beds available. Today, that's dropped back down to 28% of hospital beds available. Now let's take a look at the national and the global numbers for COVID-19. These numbers come from Johns Hopkins University, and in the U.S., we now have officially surpassed 18 million reported cases of COVID-19. That exact number is 18,101,653, and we are now over 320,000 reported deaths, with that number being 320,864. Now, the U.S. has 4% of the global population, about 4% of the global population, but our percentage of the cases and our percentage of the deaths continue to tick up slightly. 23.3% of the cases is what we have here in the U.S., and 18.8% of the global deaths are accounted for here in the U.S. Those global numbers now at 77,708,508 for total reported COVID-19 cases, and now over 1.7 million for the total reported deaths. That number is 1,710,128. Now, we do now have 2 vaccines available here in the U.S., the vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech and the vaccine from Moderna and the National Institutes of Health. And Lyft is now offering discounted rides in order to get people to the vaccine sites to get those vaccinations. Lyft is offering 60 million free or discounted rides in order to get people to the sites they need to get to get the COVID-19 vaccine. This is aimed at helping low-income, uninsured, and at-risk communities get to and from those vaccination sites. Also, Lyft's competition Uber announced last week that it would be offering up to 10 million rides for people going to and from a vaccination appointment, and then also trips for the second dose required for that vaccine. It's not immediately clear when those discounts or those free rides would begin, but we do expect those to be coming from Lyft and Uber. They announced that. Now, if you were watching football yesterday, you may have noticed that we seem to be living in the football twilight zone because the Steelers, which started their season 11-0, are now on a 3-game losing streak, and they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals, which before yesterday, their record was 2 losses, 10 wins, and 1 tie. Well, now they're at 3 wins, 10 losses, and 1 tie because they upset the Steelers last night by a score of 27-17. And what that did for the Cleveland Browns is it opened the door for the Browns to potentially compete for their first division title in 31 years. That's 3 decades. That's a long time. According to 538, which is an advanced analytics website, the Cleveland Browns' chances of now winning the first division title since 1989 are at 27%. That's not a high percentage, but it's not a low percentage. I am not mad about a 27% chance of the Browns winning the AFC North. So here's what has to happen. The path is pretty simple. Cleveland has to beat the New York Jets on Sunday, and then Pittsburgh has to lose to the Indianapolis Colts, and that sets them both up to face off in Week 17 with the same record, which would be 11-4 if that happens, and the division would be on the line at First Energy Stadium. So that's when it comes to the AFC North title. Now, let's talk about the playoffs. Is it possible for the Cleveland Browns to clinch a playoff spot this week? It is possible, a couple different ways. By the way, the Browns have the longest NFL playoff drought in the league, and it's 17 years, so it would be pretty great for that drought to end. Here's 2 ways that can happen. If the Browns beat the Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Colts, the Browns can clinch a playoff spot because they would have that wild card spot then. Or if the Browns beat the Jets and the Raiders beat or tie with the Dolphins, same thing. The Browns can clinch a playoff spot. Now, I prefer the second option because that still leaves open the option that the Colts beat the Steelers, and then that makes Week 17 a possible AFC North title matchup, which we just talked about. Now, if you want to see more possibilities for the Browns to clinch a playoff spot, our 3 News sports analyst Ben Axelrod breaks that all down on WKYC.com. So you can check that out or just follow him on Twitter, Ben Axelrod. He talks about it all there too. One more thing to let you know before we go. The Word Church is hosting a free toy and grocery giveaway tomorrow at its downtown Cleveland location. This is at 5900 Kinsman Avenue, and that's not far from the intersection of East 55th Street and Woodland Avenue, and this is starting at 12 p.m., and the toys and the groceries will be limited, so if you are interested, it is recommended that you get there early. Of course, make sure you're wearing your mask and you're observing that physical distancing and all of that good stuff, but if you want to contribute something to the giveaway, you can drop off a new toy or groceries from 12 to 4 p.m. today. So a couple more hours for you to still get in and do that if you want to participate in the Word Church's toy and grocery giveaway, if you want to offer things up to give to people in need. And if you're going to do that, the church says just pull up to the glass doors in front of the building. There'll be a bin located just inside the doors where donations can be placed. That's it for your 3 News Now update for Tuesday, December 22nd, this 75th Tuesday that we are experiencing this week. I will see you next up on What's New at 5 p.m., which you can catch me in the Clicking in Cleveland segment with your trending stories. I'll be talking about the Browns fans' reaction to that Steelers loss, which I don't know if that technically makes it a victory Tuesday for us, but doesn't sound bad, right? All right, that's it. I'll see you back here tomorrow afternoon. Everybody stay safe and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.